Hello my keto peeps, it's Samaya and welcome back to my channel, I Don't Sugarcoat. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious Airy cracker. So let's get started. Before we begin, today's video is sponsored by Wholesome Provision. They're a company located locally right here in the US, and they specialize in making keto-friendly products, two of which are now staples in my keto kitchen, and that is their Lupin Flour and their Allulose sweetener blend. Check out their catalog of products on their website. You can also find their products on Amazon as well. I'll leave a link to their website in the description of this video. So let's jump into this recipe. Okay, to begin, we're gonna start off with, of course, some Lupin Flour, my favorite. And we're gonna be adding 1/3 of a cup of this to the bowl. Next, we're gonna be adding 1/3 of a cup of some vital wheat gluten. To this, I'm gonna be adding 30 grams of some protein powder. And I'm pretty certain this will work with a variety of different kinds. So just pick your favorite, just make sure that it is unflavored. Now I'm going to be adding 1 tablespoon of some buttermilk powder. In my bowl here, I have 3 teaspoons of some baking powder, 1 teaspoon of some pink Himalayan salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon of some xanthan gum, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of some ascorbic acid. And I'm adding that as a preservative. So if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Next, I'm going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of this here allulose sweetener blend. And lastly, because I'm going to be making this a butter and chive crackers, obviously we would need to be adding some chives. You can add fresh or you can add dried. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to be using dried here, and I'm adding 1 tablespoon of dried chives. And if you don't want to do chives at all, you can totally skip that part and you can just make this buttered flavored. All right, now that that's all mixed up, we're going to go ahead and add this to our food processor. Okay, now that we've added our dry ingredients, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add 6 tablespoons of some cold cubed butter. Now pop your lid on, and we're just gonna pulse this a few times until it's all nice and crumbly. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and add in our wet ingredients, and because we wanna make this a butter flavored cracker, I'm gonna be adding in some butter extract. And then we're going to add 4 tablespoons of some cold water. And then we're just going to pulse it until it forms a ball of dough. All right, so now get your dough out of the food processor. Okay, so with our dough out of the food processor, you just want to go ahead and just kind of shape it into a little bit of a disc like this. And then we're going to put it in a sheet of some saran wrap. Now I'm going to roll this just a little bit to get it into roughly a little bit of a square or a rectangle, something like that, because that's the shape we're going to want to put it in once we start to make the crackers. And it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so this looks pretty good. I'm gonna put this on a cookie sheet and put this in my refrigerator for 1 hour, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what we'll do next. So I've gone ahead and rolled this out after the hour was up, and after rolling it out, I put it back in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes before we do the cutting, just so that I can have less sticking to my little cutting gadget here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off this paper. Now I've got my handy dandy pie docker here, my dough docker, and I love this thing, especially for making crackers. So I'm just gonna roll this over the entire length of my crackers here. All right, that looks great to me. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting out my crackers here. Now you wanna be careful because I sometimes have some sticking with these, and so that's why I stuck it back in the refrigerator. However, I'm still gonna spray it with a little avocado oil just to try to prevent any sticking. And so I'm going to try to get a nice even press down here and start to cut my crackers. And I'm just gonna keep going slowly. As long as it doesn't curl up onto my cutter here, that's perfect. Okay, and as you can see, now I have a nice row of crackers here. Now sure, this one's got a little bit of thinness right here and it's not complete, but it's totally fine. Now I try to leave just a little bit of spacing between here, and then I'm going to start again. And you want to make sure to go slow, just in case one of your crackers tries to roll up into this little cutter here. Or if you're not using something like this, if you're just going to cut them with a knife, then just go at it. And while I'm doing this, I will tell you right now that your macros for these crackers will be a little bit different from mine if you don't get the exact same number that I get, if you're not using like this cutter or something or other. So don't freak out if your macros are different. If they're a little more or if they're a little less, it's totally fine. They can vary not just from how many you get cutting it out, but they can vary depending on what products you use. Okay, and so I'm probably going to use my little one on this one. Okay, and I'm going to cut these little babies out right here. And what I like to do here is even though these got cut off, I'm still going to use those and just kind of count them up as like 2 of them will be like 1.5 cracker or something like that. All right, and now this is it. We're gonna go ahead and put these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. And we'll come back and I will tell you what I'm gonna do then. They're out of the oven and they smell fantastic, you guys. However, there is something that I totally forgot to do, and that is after I cut them, they were supposed to go back in the refrigerator for another 10 minutes before baking, because that will help the butter to solidify again and it will keep the crackers from getting dark like this. So I forgot to do that step. I'm so sorry. Please remember, when you cut your crackers, stick that dough back in the refrigerator for another 10 minutes before baking. If you don't, then you're gonna wanna decrease that cook time to about 12 to 15 minutes. This is what happened at 15 minutes. They got this dark, but that was because they went in the oven when the dough was pretty, I don't wanna say warm, it wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold like it should have been. So please remember to put it back, and if you don't put it back, then decrease your cook time. Now, as you can see, they look perfect. They're perfectly shaped. I can feel just how airy these are already. They feel pretty soft. They feel pretty light. They're not as dense as my previous version of crackers are. Those crackers, I like those crackers for when I'm doing something with tuna or something like that. Something that's much more of a firmer cracker. I like these for, you know, if I put like meats on them, and I like them with hummus. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick these in the dehydrator because these are not done. So these are gonna go in my dehydrator, and they're gonna go in there at 155 degrees, and they're gonna stay in there for about 3 to 4 hours. And then I will come back and let you guys hear what they sound like. My crackers are done. I only let these go for about 3 hours at 158 degrees. That was the temp in my dehydrator. So they only needed to go that long, just 3 hours, and they came out so nice and crispy, you guys. Like, so crispy. I don't know if you can hear that. I promise you, they go well with so many things. And I don't know, I just can't say enough about them. I hope you guys get to make these. I hope you enjoy them. That's going to be it for me today. I will leave the nutritional facts for these crackers in the description of this video. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to click the subscribe button and don't forget to ding that little bell so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video. And until next time, you guys, bye.